Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good morning. How y'all doing this morning? Happy Wednesday to y'all. I am Mike D, aka DDE80, aka 13th Wonder of the World, aka Mike DZ. Good morning to y'all. How y'all doing this morning? Happy Wednesday to y'all. I know it's hump day. Gotta get it done. Gotta get it on hump day. Shout out to the Point Place family. Giving a shout out to M Breezy. Also to my baby niece, Naya. Shout out to my sister as well. Love everybody. Love all y'all. Once again, a shout out to Point Place family. Bobby Reezy, of course, which is my producer. Uh, Even shout out to my little brother Josh that's over here chilling, eating a bowl of cereal for breakfast. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to come on. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about, my point of view. I want to talk about a couple of things in my point of view that you all are going to be trying to figure out what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't listen, but for those of you that do listen, thank you for coming in. For those of you that don't listen, and this is your first time listening, welcome. Don't pay me no mind. At times I make a couple of errors and stuff, but don't hold that against me. I'm still trying to better myself at this podcast thing, if you know what I'm saying. First of all, I want to say God bless you, God keep you. Thank you again. The first part of the format is going to be, this is a two-part podcast because I'm actually going to do the Bret Hart top 20 matches, the part 2 of it today, which is the top 10 now of it today. Shout out to Fadeaway because I know you've been asking me about it and waiting on me to do it, and I'm going to do it here today. First of all, I want to talk about NXT last night. I'm basically going to talk about wrestling, of course. NXT was okay. Not like they were last week because last week they had all the established stars on there. They're still building up for Becky versus Valkyrie, her match next week. Ariana Grace, which is Santino Marella's daughter, who's now in Impact Wrestling, but Ariana Grace is Santino Marella's daughter. She's gonna go up against Danny Jordan. Not Danny Jordan, excuse me. Kalani Jordan, I'm sorry. The girl that used to be with Dana Brooke, and Lola Vice, and the other girl has her match as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in those matches next week. Halloween Havoc Part 1 stars. Chase U, shout out to Andre Chase and Duke for winning the Battle Royal. They eliminated and knocked out some good teams in there. Garza and Herberto, the Creed brothers, which I think those two are going to start a rivalry. The Creed brothers versus Angel and Herberto. I think that's a rivalry. The Ballin' Brutes against I don't know the name of those guys that Reggie has, Scripps, but his tag team is probably going to go up against, when I get the name, I think it's on OTW. So I don't know the name of them. I might have to watch it again to get their names right. But there's some brothers, there's some big, tall, husky, built brothers that Reggie has. They're going to be going up against the Brawling Brutes. I think they're going to go up against Pete Dunne, a.k.a. Butch, and Rich Holland, because that looks like that's going to be a rivalry as well. That Battle Royal is now making new rivalries in that thing. You know, Jensen and them, they lost as well. And it came down to, Chase U, which now has the support of JC Jane along with Thea. So those two girls are now intertwining with the Chase U University. I still think something's going to happen. I think it's probably going to be a swerve or something. Who knows? The main event was supposed to be a four-way for the number one contenders match to go up against Dragunov next week, but it didn't happen. Trick Williams was added to the match, and Trick Williams is out of the match. Trick Williams was mysteriously attacked. Now, guys, we all know what happens in wrestling when this happens. We know that the closest person that's with that guy usually be the one that is the assailant. When Shawn Michaels got attacked back in 2002, everybody was on the Raw roster trying to figure out who did it. And come to find out, when they pushed the camera back, they realized it was his best friend, Triple H. This is the same storyline they're doing again. The only difference is it's not on Raw, it's on NXT. The culprit is going to be Carmelo Hayes. And I could be wrong about that because they've been shocking me lately and pulling some hoodoos over on me, making me guess again. But I believe that it was Carmelo Hayes that did this to Trick Williams. Because Melo don't want to see Trick fight for the NXT World title. He wants him to be the North American champion. That's exactly why he did it. Speaking of the North American champion, Dominic Mysterio and Nathan Frazier went at it. Nathan Frazier is going to be the number one contender to Dominic Mysterio, and I think that Frazier should beat him. But I don't know, because they want the Judgment Day with all the titles. And that's exactly what it's looking like. Judgment Day is going to have all the titles. And if I'm not mistaken, the Judgment Day and the Bloodline are a faction now. So I wonder what Roman Reigns thinks about all that. So we'll see if that ever takes place. It's got to intertwine with him having a conversation with the Judgment Day. That happens. That's going to happen. Tegan Nox and Valkyrie, they had a match. Tegan Nox ended up losing because of Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. Like I said before, why don't you just make Piper Niven and Chelsea Green defend their tag team titles against Natalya and Tegan Nox? And they probably will win that match. But NXT was very, very solid. It wasn't a great show compared to what it was last week. Becky Lynch showed up, had a conversation. Dijak and Corbin, we'll probably see those two end up fighting each other or whatever. Braun Breaker versus Robert Stone. For those of you that don't know, Robert Stone used to be a wrestler in TNA. So I don't know what he's going to do now, how he's going to do it. But I think you bring back, Von Wagner next week at Halloween Havoc Part 1. Shotzi won her match as well. Shotzi and Scarlett will be on there next week to start off the whole stuff, of Halloween Havoc Night 1. Also, they got matches. Kiana James versus Roxanne Perez in a devil something type match. I forgot what it was. And you got Blair Davenport, who I do like. I like her skill in the ring, versus Gigi Dolan in a match. Gigi Dolan will get over, but not right now, guys. She's trying to, but not right now. Just, the way it is right now. That's what I see. But other than that, it was a great NXT. And, a lot of people was enjoying it, but it was all right. A lot of people think it was great, but it was all right to me. Compared to what it was last week, last week's NXT was the greatest NXT I ever seen in my career. watching television, my career of talking and watching and things like that. I used to be a wrestler back in the day myself. Shout out to the Point Place family. We all used to wrestle back in the day. We had the TWF wrestling, Trampoline World Federation, and I was never the world champion. I think B.Ray was the world champion. I was like the European champion and the television champion. Kendo was the U.S. champion, and I think Pat Johnson was the was the world champion. But I remember I beat him for the world title. I remember that, pinned him 1, 2, 3 in the ring because he in the trampoline because he never had lost. But those are just for funny, what we used to do back in the day when we used to be on there. Me and Nightmare, shout out to Nightmare, man, my boy, old Freaky Johnson. Me and him had some great matches, man. I'm talking about, we had matches like Angle Benoit type matches. Shout out to him, man. But that's off the subject. I was just talking about it. But anyway, it was okay. It was not great like I thought it was, but compared to last week, NXT, and I kind of figured that was going to happen because they didn't have all the main guys on there besides Becky Lynch. They had a couple of main people on there, but not the who's of the business like it usually be. So it's okay. I understand. It's okay. Tonight is AEW Dynamite. Sting, Adam Copeland, Christian, they are advertised to be on the show. I'm quite sure MJF will be on there. Powerhouse Hobbs probably going to be on there talking about what he did to Chris Jericho. Things like that. Probably going to see a Orange Cassidy defend the title again tonight because he usually defends it on Wednesdays on Dynamite. So we'll see what happens with AEW. Also, WNBA Finals, I think it returns tonight. There's a couple of college football games tonight, as well as NBA preseason. I think also the Major League Baseball, playoffs are still on tonight as well, too. We'll have to tune in to see what happens with all that, folks. But as for right now, I am Mike D, DDE80, 13th Wonder of the World, and I'm going to yield this podcast to talk about the other podcast, which is the second half of Bret Hart's greatest matches, the next top 10. So tune in for that. That's going to come on right after I finish doing this. So ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good Wednesday. Peace out. God bless you. God keep you. Remember, you're here for a purpose. I thought I could do it. I think I got it down packed, B. I think I got the beat down, man. I think I got it down, B. I got it down, B. I kind of got it down a little bit. Breezy. There go your beat, man.